I'm a ghost, it's Halloween, I'm a ghost. Well, this is another video brought to you by 3 o'clock in the morning in Scotland, because it's still technically Thursday where you are. So I don't feel bad, I just feel tired. Books, let's talk about books. Number one favorite book ever is Hamlet. It's not a novel, but it is in book form. I've had this copy for a while. It has all sorts of notes in the margins, and my friend Dave did this weird drawing. It's a very interesting book. And my favorite thing to do is to just sort of go through and see what I underlined and see the dumb comments. Like, Number two, I love The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. That's a book that's definitely, I think, a little bit, I think unconventional is the right word. It's sort of a novel of ideas. The main characters don't really have physical features that are distinguishable, and it's just the most beautifully written book. And I wouldn't say it's far from light reading. It's definitely heavy, but I also read it during the summer, and I felt like it was a good summer read, but also just like really nourishing and really thought-provoking and beautiful and terrifying all at once. So The Unbearable Lightness of Being is a very close second to Hamlet. Number three is Franny and Zooey. I love Franny and Zooey. I read that my sophomore year of high school, and I think it changed, of all the books that I've ever read, like Harry Potter included, Harry Potter, Hamlet, whatever, Franny and Zooey actually changed me. Especially a lot of the stuff that Franny talks about with, like, I think the quote is, even if you go bohemian or something crazy like that, you're conforming just as much as everybody else, just in a different way. And that was a thought that had never occurred to me, but it's really true. And I think it's an important lesson to keep in mind in light of all the hipsters around. Fourth favorite book, Pride and Prejudice. I do love it. And it's actually one of the reasons that I love Lizzie Bennet Diaries so much, is because it takes the book and puts it in a completely different light. It's a story about a woman learning how not to be so prejudiced against people, because she judges people all the time. Lizzie Bennet is headstrong, and so am I. So I identify a lot with her, and yes, I do. I love Mr. Darcy. Oh God, I love Mr. Darcy. But one of my favorite things about the Lizzie Bennet Diaries is that, at least so far, show it's all about friendship, sisterhood, which are things that I wish we got more of in the book, but still a great book. And then number five is this book called Warlock by Oakley Hall, and there's no proof, but I am 99% positive that it was a source text for Joss Whedon when he was writing Firefly. Like, or at least I'm 99% positive that Joss Whedon has read this book, because there's a character named Wash, and he's a cowboy. Like, there's no, ain't nobody names a cowboy Wash unless they've read a book in which that happens. It's a really entertaining book about the American frontier, and it's an interesting way of looking at like frontier history and how sensational it was, and how it's probably really inaccurate, and how this fictional story about this town called Warlock might actually be closer to the truth than what we consider the truth, just because of the way that the media presented the American frontier at the time. I don't know if that was articulate or not, but it's a good book. Those are my favorite books. You should read one of those. My biggest recommendation is probably Pride and Prejudice, just so you can watch the Lizzie Bennet Diaries if you aren't already. And if you aren't, what, how, why, who, what, where, when, and how so. My second biggest recommendation would be Franny and Zooey, because I think that's one of the more digestible books on the list, and I just think it makes you think. But yeah, you should read